Welcome back, Sports Nation and my champions. This is Eric from CSN, and today's fantasy focus shifts to the Baltimore Ravens, and we're going to talk about whether or not the league has solved Lamar Jackson in this offense. So let's get right to it. So we're going to start on the offensive side, and as we normally do, we're going to start at quarterback, and that's Lamar Jackson. He finished as QB 10 last year, a little over 2,700 yards passing, 26 touchdowns to 9 interceptions, and of course, his bread and butter game is also the run game. He had a little over 1,000 yards rushing and 7 touchdowns. Going around the early fifth round as a QB4, and honestly, I'm not seeing this. To me, this is way too early. Now, I'll tell you why. A couple reasons. One, last year he had a big drop off. He had 400 yards lost in passing, a couple hundred yards lost in his rushing game. He had 10 touchdowns less last year than 2019, and he added 3 interceptions to his total. The 2019 season, he was QB1. He kind of fell to earth at QB10. I think QB4 might be his midline or even more of a ceiling for him. And at this point in the draft, I would rather go after other options that are a little more solid. He's probably the ultimate boom or bust prospect at the quarterback position. So if you want to go for the risk, go for it. But for me, I'd rather go elsewhere, especially this early in the draft. Next guy I want to talk about is J.K. Dobbins, coming off a rookie campaign of 805 yards, 9 touchdowns, 120 receiving yards, ended up as running back 25, a fringe RB2. Going in drafts about the middle of the 4th round as running back 18. And I got to kind of question this because the big thing is with Lamar Jackson being there, can he bounce back? I would say maybe this is more of his floor. Plus, I know Mark Ingram is gone, went to the Houston Texans. I understand that, but Gus Edwards is still there. And of course, Lamar Jackson's going to get a lot of the running share as well. I'm not saying he's a terrible option. I'm just kind of questioning it there at that position. Again, this is kind of early in the draft to be taking more risks. I would rather have somebody a little bit more steady here, especially at running back. Next guy I want to talk about is Hollywood Brown, Marquise Brown. Ended up last season with 100 targets on only 58 receptions, 769 yards, 8 touchdowns. Ended up as wide receiver 36. Of course, that's a low-end wide receiver 3. Going in drafts right now in the 10th round, wide receiver 45. And I gave this one a thumbs up because a couple reasons. One, I think this is his floor right here, wide receiver 36. So you're getting good value here. In comparison, the wide receiver 36 going off the board in live drafts and ESPN is Jerry Jeudy, and he's going at the 97th pick. That's the top of the 4th round. So you can get this guy at his floor for about a round and a half later. Good value. Plus, I'm going to talk about another player that they picked up that I think will be a great compliment to him. We'll talk about him a little bit later. Next guy I want to talk about is Mark Edwards, their tight end. Ended up as tight end 6 last season. Had 88 looks, 58 receptions, 701 yards on 7 touchdowns. Currently going at the end of the 4th round here as a tight end 4. I give this one a thumbs down, not because I think he's talented, right? But I think you can do much better at this part of the draft. And I even made a video on this as far as tight end targets. And I offered a player I would like to have in PPR and in standard formats that you could probably get about a round or 2 later that could actually crack the top 3. I'm not so sure he can crack the top 3 of those elite tight ends of Kelsey, Waller, and Kittle. So why would I draft him that early? And the sleeper I want to talk about is a guy named Rashad Bateman. If you don't know about him, they drafted him in the 1st round of this year's draft, 27th overall. He's 6'1", 193, going as wide receiver 63 right now at about the 14th round. And to me, this was a great pick by the Ravens because it gives the team what they call an X receiver, a big physical type guy who can go over their middle and get those balls. That is a nice compliment to Hollywood Brown. I would say his game is a lot like Keenan Allen's. And I'm thinking at this point, at the 14th round near the end of the draft, why not throw a dart at this guy? And he could possibly be in wide receiver 2 for you down the road. As far as the Baltimore Ravens defense, they finished 5th best last season. They're currently going about the end of the 9th round, 3rd defense taken off the board, and they do have some talent here. Patrick Queen, inside linebacker, who they selected in the 1st round a couple years back. Calais Campbell and Marcus Peters, a couple of good veterans here, but I can't really see this. I'm kind of questioning this, and that's based on the value here. I think they're a little overvalued. Last season, they finished with only 39 sacks. That's 14th best, and 10 interceptions, which is 23rd best. And they lost what I feel are 2 of their top 3 pass rushers in free agency, with Matt Judon and Yannick Ngakoue, with a combined 9 sacks there. And that is all with being the top blitzing team in the league. So I would have expected at least more turnovers, more sacks doing that, and it's just not there. Now, if your league counts for points against, that's a plus because they were 2nd in the league in points against. But I'm still not seeing this. I think they're probably more of a top 10 defense. And if you grab them here at the end of the 9th round, I think you're overreaching a bit and you could do better elsewhere. There's one other thing I want to mention, and that is we're going to be going live this Saturday, 8 p.m. Pacific, 11:10 Central. We're going to be finishing up our 31 and 31 series on the 31st. We're going to be talking about more training camp news. We're going to be doing our Raider Rumor Mill instead of Sunday on Saturday night, and talking a little bit about fantasy football as well and getting you guys ready for your draft. So it's going to be a lot of fun, and I encourage you to come out and join us. If you did enjoy this video, why not give it a thumbs up, like, share, and subscribe. Put your comments in the section below. I read every single comment and I respond to just about every single comment as well. If you want to catch up to our 31 and 31 video series, click on these links right here. Thanks for watching and supporting this channel, and as always, play like a champion.